first time having sleepover too.
Oh yeah, is that my face? Is it on?
I think so.
We're on.
Red button.
Third time's the charm.
Okay.
Okay, I'll begin. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is my good friend, my sleepover buddy. This is Teacher Angela in real person. We're here live.
Woohoo! From Nashville.
Yes, we're in Nashville at a VIPKid conference and we're speaking together. We're just doing everything together. And so we had to collaborate in person live for you, coming from the bed in our hotel room.
From Nancy's bed.
Yeah, we have our own beds.
The bed in our hotel room.
Oh no, yes. It's all good. So, we wanted to do a little question and answer video. We thought it would be really fun for us to just ask the same question. Both of us are going to answer, and then I have 5 questions on my video, maybe 6, maybe 7, we'll see. And then Angela will also be doing a video on her channel. So I will link her channel below, and I'll also put it in the little eye. Is it over here? Is it over here? There's no way to be sure. It's up here.
One of these corners. It's gonna pop up.
I will link her so you can find her. Okay, let's jump into the questions. Number 1, we talked about this in our presentation. We talked about balance and growth, and a big part of it was failure. So the question is, what has been your biggest failure with working online, working from home online?
The 2 I talked about that were like the 2 biggest, I almost quit, was getting spammed. I've never even talked about this on YouTube, so if you're the spammer, you didn't win. One of my videos got like major spammed with like thumbs down. I got 5,000 overnight. Like I woke up and all at 4 a.m. I got 5,000 dislikes from Russia and Ukraine. And I could see on my analytics that nobody had even watched it from those countries. They had only given me dislikes. But I was so upset and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a huge fail for my channel. Like, what do I do? How do I move forward? And my husband was like, you don't know who did this. Like, if this video was irrelevant, if you weren't doing things that mattered, nobody would care to spam you with these. So you're doing the good things. You're going in the right direction. Keep going. So that was one of the biggest, like, I don't know if you call it a fail, but it was one of the biggest challenges that almost derailed my work.
So true. When you first see those, when you're putting yourself out there online, and any like negative comments or any of that stuff, it is tough. It's like, oh.
It's hard not to take it personal. Like, what did I say? What don't you like? But you have to have thick skin.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Oh, I agree.
I also learned when I researched that any interactions are actually good for even dislikes or interactions on your video. It means they're getting views, and that's what really matters. So joke's on you, internet bully.
But the big takeaway too is that exact video is actually one of your highest performing videos.
Yeah, and if I would have taken it down and gotten discouraged, then where would I be? But exactly, so I figured that one out. I kept it up. I didn't let that troll win, and yeah, it's still one of my top viewed videos. So.
For my biggest fail, so what I talked about was when I first started recruiting, and I'll tell this in a SparkNote version because Angela's already heard it several times. But when I first started recruiting, I wanted to go to school districts, and I thought, oh, this will be great. I can start recruiting current teachers. What a great option for them. So when I went there, they told me you cannot put your flyers there. You cannot come here and share any of this. It's just against the school district rules. And I was like, okay, so what can I do? They said you can call the school district and they have an advertising group that can send out your flyer. So I called them up, asked them, hey, can I get this flyer sent out? And they said, oh yeah, I'll get you in contact with our advertising department. It was called the Peach Jar at the school district I was working with. And so they allowed me to send out this flyer, and it was so nice to know that, oh my goodness, I can send and reach all of these teachers, whereas when I was going in person, I was only like meeting with that one school. So then I was able to reach a ton more teachers, and then also I would not have figured that out. I would not have found that out if I had been able to put the flyers on their actual school, like in the building. I wouldn't have gone the extra mile to do that. So that was a huge failure, but I just kept going with it. So I liked the stories on failing because I think the big takeaway is that when you choose to just stand up and try something else, that's when you're going to learn, and that's when you're going to figure out what works. Right?
Yeah.
Go team. Okay, what has been your biggest success, would you say, with working online? What are you most proud of?
My biggest success, I don't know, this is kind of a complicated question. I think a lot of successful things have led to more successful things, if that makes sense. Like my goals have evolved and changed. So what my goals used to be around YouTube and growing YouTube and getting views and getting subscribers, and that's where I would measure my success. But then that translated into referrals and making more money and scaling my income, which I then labeled as success. But then it turned into me working a lot and working more hours and being away from my family, which I realized I just kind of had an epiphany where I realized my kids are growing so fast, and that wasn't really a success. And so then it turned into creating systems within YouTube and referring that freed up my time to be with my family more, working smarter. I hired one of my referrals to help me manage everything that I do so that I'm able to be with my family more, but also she's one of my greatest friends now, and that also gives her more to do, within the company. So that's a complicated question, but I think my definition of success keeps evolving, but I think that's what it is. Success is the fact that I'm growing. The growth is the success. The fact that I'm reaching these goals and then I'm able to kind of keep defining what it is, and one thing has led to another, not quitting when things get tough, At those crossroads, you can fail or you can keep going, and the keeping going has allowed me to keep evolving my success. I don't know if that answered your question.
Oh, that was so perfect. That was
thanks,
perfect
Nance.
answer.
Thank you, Nancy.
I'm like, how am I gonna follow that up? It's crazy though, because a lot of times others will see success with, okay, she's been able to recruit this number, or she has this many subscribers on her YouTube channel, or this many followers on Instagram, and that's all awesome. I mean, it still feels good to be growing in that way, but I would say the thing that fills my cup the most is exactly what you came to the conclusion of, is as you continue to hit those goals, like milestones with recruits, milestones with how many classes you're teaching. The biggest thing was that I'm able to work from home. I feel like the biggest success, and I'm able to help others do that as well. The gift I can give to them is you can work from home, be home with your families, but also help provide for your family. And I think that's just being here and hearing other people's stories, and they come up and say, you helped me to get hired. That really is very rewarding. So and we're both very business driven now. I feel like we've kind of taken that mindset a little bit more. So it is very exciting to hit those milestones with income goals and all of those things. Those are big successes, and I'm very proud of those. I would say that we both are very proud of those, but the big takeaway is how the feeling. If I'm doing good and growing and hitting those goals, it just feels very successful.
Yeah.
Clear as mud.
Okay. When I first heard about VIPKid, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I can work from home and earn income and have more time with my family. Yes. And then I almost lost sight of that when I was like, ooh, referring, and ooh, building this. And then I'd be hustle, and then I'd be like, what's the point?
So true.
To earn money from home and spend time with my family. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you talked about it in your speech though, the whole balancing. Sometimes you do need to give more to work, but to get greater results. So as my family grows, or as our lifestyle changes, to be able to keep meeting those needs in that way. So I guess that's still the ultimate goal. Maybe I just lost sight of that when I started defining success by hitting a milestone or hitting a subscriber number, but I don't know, I think coming full circle, that is the ultimate success, that I'm spending that time with my family. I'm not missing out on my babies growing, but I'm still able to provide stability for them. I do what I got to do to provide stability for them, but not compromising my time with them. I'm not going to sacrifice for that. Whatever happens with all those numbers, that's the non-negotiables, that I'm there for their lives.
Mm-hmm. It's so true, because I started working from home so I could be home with my babies, and it's a tough line when you're working from home. It's so easy to fall into I'm working as you're checking Instagram, as you're checking Facebook, but it's not productive working. I always set hours, specific hours, and that's my working time, just so that I can be all in with my kids. And I am so guilty of letting those mix. I loved that. Good job. Right along. And the next question is, what is your favorite part about being able to work online, being able to work from home?
Man, I have a lot of favorites. I think just how it's widened my worldview. I have close relationships with these babies who are in China, and got to go there and meet them, but the technology that allows that to happen is amazing. I think it's just amazing. It's like flying an airplane. I'm in awe when I sit on an airplane. I'm 30,000 feet in the air, watching TV. This is crazy. But sometimes I think the same thing teaching online. I am sitting in North Carolina talking to a kid in Beijing about what they had for lunch today, and he's showing me his pet. Sometimes it's surreal that it's live, you know what I mean? In real time, I'm talking to a little kid in China, building that relationship. That's one of the coolest things about teaching online, I think.
It's so cool. I agree. I think that the cool thing about working like online from home is that it's doable. I always, when I was pregnant with Ava, I was like, I have to find an option to work from home. How can I work from home? And I was seeing all these MLMs, and I was just faced with so many things that I was like, but it probably doesn't work. It won't work out. When I found that when I teach from home, I mean, I saw that first paycheck, and all of a sudden it was like all my dreams just started to unfold because I didn't realize that it was doable.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to live in the world that we do, where, I mean, you can have an AdSense account on YouTube, you can have an affiliate link, you can have a referral code, you can teach and have that time that you're teaching can bring in income. There's just, so it opened up doors and just so many opportunities to earn money from home and I agree. I wish that mine was as heartfelt as yours, but yours is so much more heartfelt about reaching lives and changing kids' lives. It's so cool. If you haven't been to Beijing, it is life-changing to meet them in person.
It really is.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about scheduling and what your schedule looks like and how do you get done the things on your to-do list. How do you get it all done?
I don't get it all done. I was just telling Nancy I can't answer this question, but I'm sure I'm not alone in the fact that I really don't have a set schedule. My schedule every day is chaos. But I've kind of just come to accept that. Like, every day is going to be different. Maybe my kid has it, but that's the beauty of working at home. Like, schedules change every day. I can schedule an appointment whenever, the soonest I can get my kid in, or I can help a neighbor whenever they show up at my house. So I try to be consistent, but I'm just not consistent. And that's okay. It's actually worked for me. This year has been my biggest year income-wise, and I've also been able to scale back my time. I've never worked less and made more than this year, and I think it's because I was not like glued to the expectation that I would check everything off my list, because that would drain me, and I'd sit at the end of my day and feel like garbage because I didn't finish what was on my to-do list, even though they were menial things. So when I stopped just filling my list to fill my list and just kind of doing what came up, doing what needed to be done, always with the priority that, my kid wants to read a book, I can go read a book with my kid. They need to go to the doctor, I can take them right now. As long as my priorities, I think my big priorities were in line, my time was always used wisely, for the most part. I mean, yeah, I would get sucked into Instagram. I get sucked into Instagram and YouTube, I do. But I think as long as my priorities are straight, my schedule could fluctuate tremendously, and I'm just able to immediately determine what deserves my time right now and what doesn't. I'm really good about saying no now too. You talked about that too. I used to be such a yes person, but now I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I can't show up to this. I'm not gonna be able to make it to this. I need to work. My kid, I will say, the one consistency I have are my kids are in school now, which has been nice. My youngest goes to preschool for 3 hours, 3 times a week. I always film my podcast on one of those days, edit it the next day, and do a YouTube video on the next day. It's a 3-hour block of time where I'm able to get a podcast episode out and edited and a YouTube video out and edited. So that time I will say no to brunches or to social outings with friends, because that time is my uninterrupted work time. So protecting the time that you do have to work uninterrupted is really, really important, but then being able to be flexible without the guilt has been key to my schedule.
Yeah, I think that's such a good answer. You reminded me of, it was Jasmine Star that was talking about how to be productive, and she said that when anything comes up, so say that you check an email and it says that you need to put something on the schedule or whatnot, you do it right then. So, because you're going to be wasting time by seeing that and then putting on your to-do list, I'm going to do this later, because then you're revisiting that same thing, wasting time. So, and if it's not a priority, if it's not in alignment with what's going to help you to get to where you want to go, then you just don't do it.
Yeah.
Do I have to make the most perfect presentation? No. It needs to cover the concept and make people feel and be moved. It doesn't have to be perfect. Any project that you have, just find what is the most important part of this. It is not all the fluff and the extra stuff.
Yeah, and don't apologize. That's something I'm getting better at. I had to reschedule a meeting with someone in China, and because I totally realized it interfered with New Year's Eve, and I was not about to have a meeting on New Year's Eve, and I didn't even apologize. I was just like, hey, I need to reschedule our meeting for tomorrow morning. And he was like, no big deal. And he rescheduled it. And my husband made the comment, I like that you didn't apologize for that. And I thought, well, he's understanding. I'm not sorry. If I was sorry, I wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So don't feel bad for prioritizing yourself and setting boundaries, or rescheduling because you're prioritizing your life, your quality time with your family. It's okay. Most people are understanding, I've learned. So true. And with you, I have a block of time too. So with my schedule, I have my mornings or my tiger time.
So I teach and then I work, and then once the kids are awake, I am with the kids. Now, as I've been doing my course though, I've been working a ton of hours. I've been sprinting, filming, recording, and I only do that when Dave's home because I've tried to do both. Like, have my kids there doing this, and it's chaos. Sometimes you have to do it. I get that if you have a deadline and have to do it, but in my house, it just never is productive.
Yeah. It's like a waste of time because it's like you're spending longer trying to get it done when if it was just like dedicated time, you could just bust it out. So.
Yes. And did anyone notice my socks don't match?
Oh, but those are cute. What does it say?
Hell yeah!
Oh, I love that.
Last question. What drives you?
I just think more and more I've become very introspective. I think I had a close friend die really young from high school. She didn't have kids yet. She was married, and she's just like this healthy, vibrant person. And it just reminded me of like my own mortality. Like cancer, these diseases don't discriminate on, you know, a lot of the time on health or income or anything else. You know what I mean? And I just think about like how she spent her last few months. She went to Thailand and became a yoga instructor, did like a month retreat there, and I was just, I don't know, I think about her all the time, but I always think about, and maybe this is like morbid of me, but I think all the time about like, what am I going to be remembered for? What's going to be in my obituary? What am I going to, you know, what's going to matter when I'm laying on my deathbed? Not the size of my house or having a cool car, even though I do like having a cool car. Sometimes I get tied up in those things, but I really try to think about those things, how I spend my time. Like, what if I don't wake up tomorrow? Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. And maybe I think about that a little too much. Maybe I need medication or something for that. But my drive really is to give my kids like a stable childhood and to be there for them when they need me. When my kids are having, I think more and more as they get older, it's more important too. I used to think while they were young, you know, I need to be there while they're babies and while they're toddlers. But the older my child's getting and her problems are becoming bigger, the more I realize she needs me while she's bigger, especially into teenage. I think about me as a teenager now and how big those problems can be. So I think what drives me the most is to create work that's meaningful to the people I'm helping, provides for my family, but most important, gives us that lifestyle where we're just able to maintain that tight-knit relationship where we're there for each other, we're giving our kids a stable, healthy childhood, providing them with opportunities to grow into their own, you know, people, time to do our own self-work, just time. That's the only thing we don't get back. So I think just optimizing what I do with protecting my time, that's what drives me. It's just that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, I agree. I think that I was reading this article. It was about how with your kids, if you're always putting it off, like, okay, I'm going to work, I'm going to put in the work now, I'm going to put in the work now, and I'm going to go hard now, and then we'll reap the benefits later on. We'll reap the benefits, and I'll spend more time with them. I'll have that. I'll be more able to do that. But you don't get back story time when they're 2. You don't get back that time. So I think it's so true, and having that as a priority, that you do have your family as a priority, and that's truly what drives me, is the same thing. I want to be a role model, that mom's going for her goals, mom's setting big goals, and they're scary, and I'm going to go for them, and they're helping me to be a better person because I'm learning. I'm also able to let that flow into my kids by telling them, you can do hard things, you can go for it, giving them examples. I've realized that I don't have to tell them anything, and they're going to learn by just watching. It's crazy. I'm like, they are little sponges. They just learn by watching you. So if I am being the best version of myself and going for it, I'm an example for them. And I think that that's huge. I just always want to be a good example.
Yes. And ditto.
I'm not gonna cry.
Also that.
Okay guys, that is the end of our video. We have more questions over on Angela's channel. I will leave it linked below so you can go check out some more questions with the 2 of us in person on the bed. Goodbye, Nashville.
On your bed.
On my bed. Or is it yours? I don't know. Just kidding.
Cut that out. I didn't get told that. I don't want that on the internet.
Okay, well, we'll come back to it.
The beauty of editing software. Yep.
And that was just cut out. Hell yeah!